What's up YouTube? I'm Galdite74 here, bringing you week 1 of the IBA. In this week we are facing Odds and his Memphis Bewears. However, this video is not going to be the battle. This is only going to be the team builder. The actual battle will go up on the 6th, I believe, of October. I could be wrong, but around that area, give or take. In this video, I'm just going to go over basically what I brought against Odds and for the battle. His team is pretty threatening. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I spent a lot of time prepping for this battle, and I originally thought about doing a live team building session, but I decided against that because I feel like the video would just drag on because I just kind of ramble around a lot in my head, so it would just be rambling in on screen as well. But so I just kind of put all this my main thoughts on one paper and decided to just build the team builder here. So anyway, we're going to look over Odds' team now. He drafted for his draft. He decided to draft Naganadel, Megadonti, Necrozma, Zapdos, Suicune, Zemon Cobalion, Crocodile, Zemon Delmise, Zemon Rapidash, and Audino. Now, he only has 10 Pokemon, which is kind of helpful because you get to prepare for less. And he's got 3 Zemons in Cobalion, Delmise, and Rapidash, which it can be scary, but with my team matchup, you'll explain why I'm not too worried about it. I have 2 Zemons and he's got 3, so I mean he's got more options, but they're all kind of lower tier. I personally think Rapidash Z move is pretty nice. But yeah, that's my own opinion. What I think he's going to bring, I definitely don't see the Audino coming. I don't think the Rapidash will come. I don't think it's got the greatest matchup. It can do a few good things like against Skarmory, but I don't think it's going to be good enough to bring. And it's possible, but I don't see the Cobalion coming either. I also don't think Cobalion's got the greatest matchup in the world, considering I have a lot of Mons that can hold down its moves pretty well, and I have a Mega Lopunny that's faster than that anyway, so and even a Raikou with Aura Sphere if I had it, which I don't have it, but and give or take, there's one that's 7 he still has, can't talk. Mega Deonti's a maybe, and maybe Suicune's a maybe, and Crook. But definitely Naganadel, Necrozma, and Zapdos those 3 are definitely coming. And I think Delmise is coming too, because Delmise does pretty good against my team. It hits offensively at least very hard against my team. And then again, Mega Deonti, Suicune, and Crook. 2 of those 3 are coming, but I'm not sure that he might drop one of those. But when I bought though, I decided to bring Hippowdon, Mega Lopunny, Raikou, Skarmory, Toxapex, and Serena. I'm gonna go into these Pokemon in depth in a few seconds. I'm really happy with this team I built. I kind of built the first 3 like they were definitely there. Like Hippowdon, Mega Lopunny, and Raikou. I slapped them on right away because I knew I'd be bringing them. And the last 3 were kind of what else did I need to cover for the rest of this team. So that's the way I built. So I'm just gonna go right into our first Pokemon. So first we're going to look into Humphrey the Hippowdon. Hippowdon is rocking the Rocky helmet with Sandstream ability, which I didn't want to change actually, but I forgot to do it. So it might be a problem in the battle, but it might also help us. But Hippowdon is running max HP, 136 defense, 4 in attack, 116 special defense with a careful nature. Moves being Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Slack Off, and Ice Fang. Now, the ground type hits 4 of his Pokemon really hard, being in Crocodile, Cobalion, Rapidash, and Mega Deonti, right? So right there, I just told myself, okay, I have a good ground type. He's somewhat weak to ground type, so Hippowdon's coming. And it did work out because Hippowdon's going to be a good wall defensively and specially defensive too this week, because it can completely wall the Rapidash barring any Z moves, and even then I can just heal off the Slack Off unless I get critted for whatever reason. It stops Cobalion pretty well. It stops Crocodile. It can't really hit Crocodile as hard, but it can take tank hits from Crocodile all day. And for Crocodile, Hippowdon can also take hits from Zapdos. I can't really hit it back either, like Crocodile, it's kind of got the problem. That's why I decided to throw Ice Fang instead of Rock Slide on there. I thought about this pick for a while, but then I thought, if Hippowdon can't really hit Crook too hard, it can't hit Zapdos too hard, what hits both of those Mons? And I decided to run Ice Fang because, I mean, Crocodile is going to take some damage from it, Zapdos is going to take some damage with it, and then it just comes all down to mind games with Zapdos. If he's going to go for Roost, should I go for Earthquake, or if he doesn't, should I just Ice Fang? It's a lot of mind games going on there. I wrote Stealth Rock because besides Mega Deonti's Magic Bounce, it's going to be really hard for him to take down my rocks because Zapdos might have Defog, but that would really take away from its coverage. And then Delmise gets Rapid Spin, and that would just give me a free turn to send in Skarmory, and my Skarmory is my main Dhelmise check, as I'll mention again later. So if I get the rocks up, I'm pretty good. And plus, it doesn't kill his team, but it does hurt his team to a point. Like, chip damage is really important this week because a lot of my moves just miss out on Okos, but with Star Fox damage, a lot of my moves will Oko any Pokemon. And lastly, Hippowdon can do mega damage to Mega Deontay. I just don't want to switch in on Mega Deontay because Moonblast has like 60%. It has a really high chance of 2-Koing my Hippowdon, so if I switch it in. And plus, the reason I didn't want to bring Sandstream is because Mega Deontay does get a specialty defense boost. And even though a lot of my members on my team can hit it, a lot of it is through specialty. So a lot of my moves, like you'll learn later, one of my moves was able to Oko it, but in the sand it can't Oko it. So it might be a problem, it might not be. I hope it's not. I've been talking about Hippowdon forever, but this is the Hippowdon set. It's going to be a really good key defensive wall for the week. And we're going to move on to our Mega Lopunny now. Now, Mega Lopunny, our Lindsay the Mega Lopunny, is running max attack, 100 HP, 4 defense, 4 special defense, and 148 speed with a Jolly Nature. I was really trying to fit an Adamant Nature on here, but without it, it couldn't outspeed Naganadel naturally, so I had to fit on Jolly. Its moves are Fake Out, High Jump Kick, Ice Punch, and Baton Pass. Now, I mentioned in the the draft analysis that I would be running Baton Pass a lot this season, and I wasn't lying, and I'm bringing it week 1. Mega Lopunny just, well, for one, it destroys Audino, so I'm going to put that out there right now. But Mega Lopunny is probably the most important member of the team this week because it does so much damage to everything on his team. Naganadel dies through Fake Out, like Ice Punch damage. Mega Deontay doesn't want to take a High Jump Kick. Crocodile, even with an Intimidate, still gets OK'd by High Jump Kick unless he's got some super defensive investment. Compalion gets one shot by High Jump Kick. Rapidash dies to High Jump Kick. Everything dies to High Jump Kick, which is really just impressive to me. Mega Lopunny is probably going to be my lead, depending on what he brings, of course. I see myself turn 1 just missing High Jump Kick and losing half my health, but that's for the future. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But besides, that's the only downside I have for High Jump Kick. The only thing Mega Lopunny doesn't really hit is the Zapdos. I do have Ice Punch that does a decent amount of damage, but Zapdos does get static, which of course I know. I already see myself getting paralyzed. And Ice Punch can also hit Dhelmise. I know High Jump Kick does as well, but Ice Punch does a little less. I think a little less damage now I think about it. It doesn't matter. But the Ice Punch was for the Naganadel, and more importantly. And I didn't want to run Frustration because of since it's Wi-Fi, when you trade, because I don't gen my Mons. By the way, shout out to Aaron for genning my Mons. When you do Wi-Fi, you gotta your happiness doesn't go from 0, and it doesn't start at 255, so you gotta work around it a little bit. So that's something I didn't. If I could avoid situations like that, I'm going to. Like this week, I can. And lastly, Mega Lopunny cannot hit the Necrozma whatsoever. So I mean, I gotta be careful about that too. But it's very important for this week. If I can find out if Naganadel scarfed basically through Mega Lopunny because it lives any hit if it's scarfed, and if it's not, then I can just Oko it. So that is the main prioress for Naganadel. I just made up that word, I think. Okay, but we're going to go on to our third Pokemon now. Our third Pokemon of the week is Doomsday, the Raikou. Raikou is holding the Life Orb with the Pressure ability, with 244 special attack, 220 speed with the Timid nature, and the last 44 in HP. Moves being Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, and Hidden Power Steel. Now this is what I meant earlier about the sand being up. If the sand is up, Mega Deontay does not die to Hidden Power Steel, but if it is not up, it does die to Hidden Power Steel. Now, Raikou is our main special sweeper of the week. I have to be careful of it being worn down through Life Orb damage and Sandstorm damage, and maybe even Toxic damage if it gets Toxic. So I gotta be careful about that, but this thing shreds through his team as well. Again, it's here for the Mega Deontay, mainly here for the Suicune. This thing is here to wall Suicune all day. I can just T-Bolt it. It's a 2-shot every time. So, unless it's max specially defensive bulk, and even then, like, what can Suicune do to Raikou? Can't really even do much. So there's that. It also is here to stop the Zapdos. My mic almost fell. I gotta be careful again. Zapdos is a 2-shot, so that's good, but it can roost up and start wearing me down with Life Orb. I'll still win that fight, but he can kind of stall me out there. And lastly, Necrozma is a 2-shot with Thunderbolt, so that is definitely really awesome because Necrozma is one of the scariest threats on his team, as I just don't have a switch in basically to any of his moves, depending on the coverage he has, of course. So that is something very to take note of. And that's kind of it for Raikou. it's pretty important because it just does so much damage. I can also volt switch out of there if I want to, do some damage while switching out. So there's that. And then Shadow Ball also for Dhelmise. I forgot to mention that. So yeah. The only thing this Raikou can't hit is the Crocodile. That kind of sucks. But again, I can just switch out into something else, like Hippowdon. So yeah, that is the Raikou. I kept that much shorter than the Hippowdon and the Megalophony. So those three were the core stable of my draft, of my team this week. We're going to go on to our fourth Pokemon, which is Metalcore the Skarmory. Skarmory is holding leftovers with 248 HP, 252 defense with an impish nature, and the last 8 in attack. Moves being Iron Head, Brave Bird, Roost, and Whirlwind. For some reason I thought I had Toxic on this, but I actually don't. Skarmory is my main Dhelmise deck. My first 3 Pokemon don't do too well with Dhelmise. Megalophony can hit it very hard, but it can't tank a hit for its life when it comes to Dhelmise. Because Dhelmise actually does hit very strong with Power Whip, so I have to be careful about that. But Skarmory can tank hits. It can even tank a Z move, Ghost move, which is really impressive. I can just roost it off as well because I'm faster. Brave Bird just does so much damage to it. This is my only physical answer to Mega Deontay, I believe. Well, Earthquake too. If Mega Deontay does not have Hidden Power Fire, then Skarmory just has a field day with it. But if it does, I do have to be careful because it does 2-KO it. So there's that. That was the main points of Skarmory right there. Whirlwind is the Whirlwind. Anything else that's setting up, I don't think I'm gonna be able to take a hit from the Gonadel if it's got like T-Volt or Fire Blast. Oh god. I thought about bringing a weakness policy Skarmory, but the Gonadel just hits way too strong for me to want to bring that. So I decided against it. And then lastly, Skarmory can tank hits from physical Necrozma. It will take time to wear it down, but physical Necrozma, Skarmory does well against, even though it's probably going to be a special variant if it comes. So that is the Skarmory for this week. That we are 4 Pokemon in, and we're going to go straight into our 5th Pokemon. Our 5th Pokemon that we decided to bring was Toxapex, Red Menace the Toxapex, holding Black Sludge with the Regenerator ability. I can't wait, I'm so excited to use Regenerator. With max HP, max special defense, sassy nature, and the last 4 in defense. Moves being Scald, Haze, Recover, and Knockoff. Now, I went back and forth between Toxic Spikes and Knockoff, but I realized I don't want to run the risk of Toxic Spikes being on my side of the field, because status is more brutal to my team than stealth rock damages, so I decided against that in the end. Toxapex is here to mainly take hits, particularly from Rapidash and Mega Deontay. I made this fully specially defensive so I can tank 3 hits from Mega Deontay, unless, crits of course. And then the same with the Gonadel. I can tank special hits from the Gonadel as well. Not Megalophony. Toxapex is mainly here as a pivot this week. I'm not going to use it too offensively. I ain't going to use it that much at all, to be honest, unless I have to. But it's going to be mainly here just pivot around, take a hit, and then switch out into something else because of the Regenerate ability. It gains 33% from Regenerator, which I think is just amazing. If I'm taking maybe 46% from a Psychic from Deontay or something like that, I'll just switch out and I'll just gain most of the health back anyway, so it's not a big deal. What else does Toxapex do? That's kind of it. It's just one of those things. I can switch into the Gonadel, and I know Scald and Knockoff ain't gonna do much, but if I can knock off into Gonadel, that'll be absolutely huge. It'll allow Megalophony to take on a Scarf Gonadel, or it'll just limit its damage output if it's holding a item, like a attack boosting item. I don't know. So that's gonna be pretty important. And then Haze for whatever setup again, just like the Skarmory with Whirlwind almost. So that is basically the Toxapex this week. Really short. Scald 3-KOs Mega Deontay, unless again in the sand. Gotta be really careful about that because then it's like a 5-KO, and then after that there's just no point scalding at that point. So yeah, Scald's gonna be good for burns around. I don't believe he's got a Heal Beller outside of Auden though. So Mega Deontay has it too, but I don't see Mega Deontay holding it. So if I can status his team, that'll be pretty big for me, especially like Toxic on Zapdos. I don't think I even have Toxic now I'm saying it out loud. But some status on Zapdos would be pretty nice. So that is the Toxapex for the week, and we are down to our final Pokemon of the week, which is Amber the Serena. Now, I went back and forth with Serena. I went back and forth between Serena and Sharpedo, but I decided the slow U-turn in the end, well, sort of slow, would have really helped. Serena is holding the Expert Belt with max attack Adamant Nature, 124 HP, 4 in both defenses, and 124 in speed. Moves being U-turn, Drop Kick, Knockoff, and Aromatherapy. I originally had low kick on there, but I decided since I have a ton of ways of dealing with Cabalion, I could take low kick out and replace it with aromatherapy, because if Megalophony gets paralyzed, it is just useless at that point. So I need to keep it around so I can clear status. If Hippowdon's toxic for whatever reason, I can aromatherapy up again, get that out of there. This speed allows me to outspeed a non-invested Suicune. I want to be able to outspeed Suicune so I don't have to take 2 Ice Beams. His Drop Kick 2-KOs it unless it's max defense. Again, if it 3-KOs it, Raiku's Thunderbolt will 2-KO it. So that's the main thing for Suicune right there. This also, I believe 2-KOs Mega Deontay. It could be wrong. I think it does. So I can come in on Deontay and just Drop Kick it twice. And U-turn and knockoff just do a bunch of Necrozma as well. If I can knock off, again, Necrozma's item as well, that'll be pretty big. And then I can just U-turn out there. It does a lot more than I would think, because Necrozma's special ability and Prism Armor. I would thought it would do a lot less, but just Serena just hits so hard, especially with the Expert Belt, max attack. That hurts. That hurts. So I can just slow. If I can slow U-turn in this, if I'm in an unfavorable matchup, that I can tank a hit though. Like let me look around. Like maybe Delmise. If I can tank a hit, I can slow U-turn out of there, and then go into something else to take care of it, like Skarmory for example. That's what that's there for mainly. And that is it for the team this week. I hope you guys are as excited as I am for week 1 of the IBA. Other notes I wrote down before we finish this team builder is I have to be aware of Chapel Berry on Cabalion if it comes, because then HJK doesn't OHKO it, and then Cabalion can just wreck house on Megalophony if that happens. And I had to keep Megalophony, Raikou, and Hippowdon around if Zapdos is around, because once those 3 go down, then I just lose the game if Zapdos is still alive. So those were other notes I wrote down, and then of course like outspeeding stuff and blah blah blah. But that is it for the team builder. Hit that like button if you enjoyed. Let me know what you guys would change if you guys would change anything. I would like to thank you all for watching. I don't know what layout I'm using yet, so if Odds provides me the layout, I'd like to thank him. Whoever's layout I end up using, I will put in the description below. And in the description below, as well as my Twitter and all the other coaches' links. So make sure to please go check them out. Those guys are all awesome. Thank you again for watching. That will go up not too long after this video does. And I'll see you in the battle.